All right.
Hi.
All right. We are
Hello.
live here on Soulfire. I am Christopher, the astro medium. Jessica, introduce yourself.
I am Jessica Tansel, medium, psychic, healer.
Healer.
That's witch. Healer.
That adds wit.
You heard
Yes.
me out there saying healer.
Yes, that's your new
Oh,
thing, boo. Welcome to the Chronicles of Chiron, the Lion, the Witch, and the Healer. We are very happy to be here. We are tired as fuck, and we're still going to talk about this because that's part of the ascension process right now. We have been getting two things that are happening, right? We're getting lots of downloads. We're getting lots of new things coming into our life right now, especially we're also on this full moon energy. So three things I'm going to say. The full moon energy we're still in, so there's some insomnia and there's just some sleep cycle issues, lots of downloads of energy, and so we're kind of wanting to be involved in too much at once, and just tiredness from all this energy coming in on top of wanting to stay up and trying to complete so many things. So
I was so tired that I didn't know if I was going to be awake for this tonight.
I feel the same way, and I never feel like that at 9:30. If I feel
Right.
tired, I feel tired, but I don't feel like that. Okay.
Right. And I'll tell you, this full moon energy, the full moon ceremony that I had on Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
was intense and powerful. And I'm
Very good.
hearing from people, not necessarily that were there in the ceremony, but people in general, like, I feel emotional.
Well, tell us a little bit
Pretty
about your full moon ceremony. What went into that? What was so, I mean, of course, we were in the full moon energy. So that was
yeah.
going to, and just so everyone knows, this full moon wasn't Taurus. So there was a lot of earth energy that came with this, a lot of being called to ground ourselves, as poetic as that is, but really to bring ourselves back down into our bodies, and really be in our bodies. That's what Taurus rules. But the full moon happened at 10:50 a.m. on Saturday at 8 degrees of Taurus, and Uranus is also at 8 degrees of Taurus. So the full moon happened exactly conjunct Uranus, and this brought a lot of unexpected, sudden, sometimes even shocking and surprising emotional outbursts, upset, but awakenings and realizations and breaking free. Uranus really awakens you, shocks you, so that you can go, whoa, I'm in the matrix. What am I doing? I'm on autopilot. And it zaps you so that you move out of, if even uncomfortably, out of old subconscious programming and emotional patterns. And so I think you witnessed that from what you were telling me on Saturday.
Right. We witnessed it in a group. I had a meditation that I shared with you last week where I was just kind of started my meditation and got interrupted in doing my Reiki opening. I always open and do my own healing. And so it was like I had someone like stop. And of course, I'm so OCD that I have to go in my order. And then I was like, okay, I'm ready for you. So sometimes when you try so hard with your intuition, it's just too much. You can't get the info. So I gave up on trying to get her name, and they were like, it'll come. So she guides me through this path, and it opens up to this ceremony of women. And these women were in circle around a fire.
Okay, you've got to hold on. Is this real? This is in your meditation? What is this?
Her meditation.
Okay,
and
all right.
What I learned was, as my mind wandered and went on, what I heard was follow Lakshmi or Lakshmi. It's the Hindu goddess. And she's the goddess of several things, but what I found was she was the goddess of song and ceremony. So it was just really powerful because I really felt that I was supposed to be very intentional about this ceremony. So I made sure I had the altar built up, that I made sure people were welcome to bring things to the altar. We sat in circle, everybody had a candle. We wrote down our release. And then I did sound healing, Reiki, and I just went with what was guided. And there was just a lot of loud, like exhaling, a lot of movement, a lot of tears and sobbing and just power coming out. And I mean, I found that for myself last night and even this morning, like the emotional wanting to release, and then also tuning into like areas of my body I could feel where it wanted to release, you know. So there was a lot of I felt so honored to be a part of that ceremony. It was so amazing to watch it.
And you created it, but you got to not perform, which is what we're not used to, and almost to allow this pie you made to bake and get eaten all at once.
I mean, it was like a journey. The energy was so powerful. I was
yes.
like, freaking
and
journey.
Well, that's the moon. The thing with the full moon is that it brings it causes a tension between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. It pulls them apart. The new moon, you're really in your subconscious, but when they're pulled apart like that, things come up. It causes a lot of things to come up to be released. That tension causes the release to happen. Whereas the new moon helps you go in there and plant seeds in your subconscious, if you will. And that was very powerful. And I'm happy that you did that. It was, of course, healing for you as well. That's the perk in it all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
I want to talk a little bit about some ascension symptoms, which are definitely happening right now, especially as in this full moon energy. It's lots of nervousness, lots of shaking in the body. I don't know about you, but a lot of lightheadedness and dizziness. Just really odd, almost like your blood sugar's dropping, but you've eaten and you don't have diabetes, you don't have this issue, and sudden like heat.
Yeah, sudden heat, yes.
Sudden heat. I'm getting, even right now, a lot of aching here and in the right here and in the teeth, like the jaws have been sore, and the
I'm sore in the lower half of my body.
Interesting. Me too. And I know I just moved, but I was sore before
like
that.
I felt like I'd worked out.
Me too. And I felt like this before I moved a few days ago.
Yeah.
It's odd, these sudden aches and pains that will come up that like I was feeling it all in my left hip and in my left knee. And I'm going, okay, I didn't really do anything. I haven't even moved yet. Let me tune into that. Let me see, because a lot of these emotions, a lot of these programming in the DNA, a lot of this stuff is purging, even if we're not conscious of it, even if we're focused on our work and we're focused on the TV, we're focused on this thing that's happening out there. The body has its own consciousness. It's doing its own thing. So that we could think, oh, what did I do? It's just where it landed in the body. You probably have some type of trauma in that area from this life. So as it's being as other life trauma and ancestral trauma is being released, it just so happens to have accumulated there. So it's important that we consider these options instead of just going, oh, I'm getting old, or, oh, you know. So especially when it accompanies all the other things that we're going through.
I noticed even Saturday night, and of course, Saturday night, the veil is supposed to be the thinnest, right? And we're really celebrating the end of harvest going into winter. But my foot bothered me so much. Like, it was so painful, hard to stand and walk on. Like, that much pain. I felt sore, like my heart chakra is like trying to expand through my back. Like, it's sore.
I have felt that too. Very odd, like burning and tingling sensations in my upper back and things like that.
Like, yeah. And, you know, and it's been, it's definitely brought things to the surface. But I can't say, oh, wait, you know what I wanted to also mention? Can we talk about how intense, because I know we're getting, this may not be ascension, but astrology a little bit, Mercury, because it was really intense this time, and I don't always notice it. But
me neither. I don't always notice it, to be honest. Like, if you look back at all your Mercury retrogrades, something did happen and there were miscommunication issues, but it may not feel like different. It may not, there's been miscommunications at other times, you know, we could go there. This one kicked my ass, and it didn't do it at first. When it was in Scorpio, I was pretty good. I didn't really have any issues. As soon as it went into Libra, that's when, and also I was moving at the same time. But it didn't, my last move was not like that. So, and Mercury in Scorpio retrograde, that was a lot of deep fears coming up. That it's a lot more subtle. Mercury in Scorpio is more intense than Libra, but it's more subtle because it's not out here as much.
Right.
When Mercury enters Libra, communication gets very much more externalized. It gets more effortless, and it went from intimacy, fears, power, which can be subtle things, okay, that are not as spoken, to straight up relationship dynamics, imbalances in the communication process, equality. Am I getting what I'm giving? That kind of stuff. And it went really fast. And so Mercury will go direct tomorrow,
Right.
just in time for the election. And I'm not happy about it. It did bring a lot of things to the surface. The full moon caused an emotional culmination, but Mercury retrograde, it's interesting, just so everyone knows, I wasn't going to move in a place like this, and I always find a place last minute that I love, and this is a perfect place for me. But on the full moon, during Mercury retrograde, the full moon doesn't make things happen. It makes your emotions more erratic because it was conjunct Uranus, and thus you attract these sudden, shocking, surprising, and we got to understand that it's not necessarily pulling our strings, it's triggering things in us which are causing attractions to occur. And I got my wallet stolen that day. I couldn't get my U-Haul because of my temporary ID. My landlord didn't sent my security deposit back to the wrong person. All these things kept happening, and it just felt like I was in an obstacle course. And it's interesting because I kept looking at it that way. There was quite a few times I was like, I think I'm going to lose my shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, no, I know what's happening. Does not mean I wasn't stressed. But I also looked at it like, I know what's going on, and I know that I can get a benefit. Everything's going to go well, and it's fine, especially since I wrote that morning, full moon in Taurus. Taurus is the most possessive sign next to Scorpio, but Taurus possesses material things. Taurus rules the second house, which is the house of I have and possessions. So the full moon was not just about purging emotions, it was about purging things that you find sentimental that are really no longer of value to you, that you need to let go of. A lot of people were finding themselves doing that, letting go of things, and realizing I need to get rid of this. I need to lighten my load a little bit, especially with objects that we are hoarding. Okay. So we had Mercury in Libra. Libra is a hoarder sign. Full moon in Taurus. Taurus is the hoarding sign. So there was a lot of that purging of that kind of stuff. And when you watch hoarders and they're like, can we throw this water bottle away? And they're like, and it's because of, it's not that, it's the emotion that's tied to having it. So that was all of those things that were coming up. But the fact that I looked at it from this bird's eye view most of the time, I'm not going to say all, but most of the time, that shows that is part of that's an ascension symptom as well, is facing adversity and constantly looking for the gift and the jewels in it. I looked at it like, oh, that was me letting go of my wallet, my credit cards and everything, and having these things happening and letting go of the outcome and knowing that it's going to work out anyway. And I didn't quite a few times. I thought, is my stuff going to be on the side of the street? Am I not actually going to be able to move into this place?
So you're human.
And I'm human. Yes. Please, thank you for reminding me of that.
No problem.
Fuck.
You always remind me too.
Yeah, you and I are very human. So, and that's a good thing. Sometimes I have to go, oh, wait, I was just sitting the other night going, I'm human. And at some point, I'm going to find that really endearing and really special to be imperfect and to have these things constantly facing me that I have to forgive myself anyway and love myself anyway. that's part of this whole process. And the ascension process, awakening process, it can be magical, it can be sci-fi, but a lot of it can be real simple and brought back to you just being more aware of your experience and your subconscious programming and shifting it constantly. And that's really where the healing really takes place. We can go, this is why I need to heal. And then when you're in the moment, just the other night, just so you know, the whole world knows, I was in a conversation with some friends, and I didn't think Mercury retrograde, but now that I look back, it was on the full moon, and it was after I moved. I moved in here, and I went and hung out with them just to relax. And they started talking about us, you know, being gay isn't a choice, or that a lot of it has to do with conditioning and things like that. And I don't agree with that. But then again, I told myself, you know what? I don't know everything. And instead of jumping in, and I just let go completely. And I just listened to the music, and I let them finish their conversation and didn't interject. That was not me for 20 something years. Okay. And I didn't worry. Yeah. That Leo wanted to get in there and be like, and I told myself, whoa, ego. It doesn't matter what they think. They're coming to their own conclusions. Let them have this, and don't cause any tensions to build. Let them finish it, and then we'll move on to the next conversation. And 30 seconds later, it was over, and we started, and I was singing, and they went on, and there was no rise in tension. I was like, whoa, that was the power of allowing them to just be, instead of trying to change what they thought about something. So, but I didn't even think about that in the moment. It wasn't until later that I was like, I didn't interject, and it wasn't this whole dialogue in my head. Don't interject, don't interject. I just felt like, no, this can go better than how it might go if I ego identify it. And there you go. And that's where you start to go, something has changed within me.
Yes, for sure. That's so true. I love that. There are times every now and again where I'll be down in my human self when something like that happens, and I'll lose my shit. In fact, it happened a couple weeks ago, and I won't tell the whole story, but when I was done, I was like, I'm really sorry that I lost my temper. I was just very frustrated. You know, like, it happens, but majority of the time I'm like, okay, that sucked. I see how that happened. Like,
Right.
I see it. All right, I got it. Can we fix this quickly? You know what I mean? Like, and just asking for what I need, you know. So thanks for sharing that. That's such a good point about the ascension symptoms. I'm trying to think if I had anything else going on. I feel more snacky.
Snacky?
Yeah, craving.
Oh, got you. I was like, please go into this ascension symptom. I'm like, oh, this is something new. Oh, you feeling snacky? Okay, well, shit, I've been feeling snacky too. I just had 2 vegan Cinnabons. Maybe that's why I'm tired. But I'm gonna tell you right now.
That's what I'm wondering. Yes.
But those vegan Cinnabons, and I don't normally eat gluten. I don't really eat gluten a lot, or wheat. But those vegan Cinnabons are not giving me third eye tingling or crown tingling, and it's definitely not making my all of this. I know that this is third eye related. So I'm like, it definitely didn't do all that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I've had more sugar, so I actually related that to some of my tiredness, and also like Halloween candy. So, and also,
you know, I didn't have any of that shit. I was having a, you know.
Well, so, and I'm thirsty as heck, like real.
Yes.
Thirsty.
Yeah. Well.
I had some of the, me too. We're like refilling, like, and I've got my filter to take my, you know, all my stuff out of here, right? But thirsty, and oh gosh, there's something else I was going to say about that, right? Oh, I felt the tension last night, but I had, like, you and I had talked, and I had an emotional release, and I took a shower and had more release, and I was like, all right, that's okay, let it go. Like, I'm in there, like, go ahead, take it on out of there.
Exactly. I was doing that on the way home. I was like, it's like, it's funny. I don't know when it started, but you start to talk about the ego and the inner child and the higher self, and you start becoming all of them. And I'm like, okay, I'll become the higher self, and I'll tell the inner child or the human me, release it. It's okay to release that. Let's do this. And I'll talk to myself, just like the whole full moon situation that happened when it was in Aries a month ago. And I was heavily crying and releasing, and I just felt this need to start rubbing the back of my head while I'm leaning over the toilet because I thought I was going to puke. I was crying and screaming so hard, and I was just doing like this as if I was both of them. I was me, just like when you're getting mad at somebody, and then when you get it out, you're like, oh gosh, I'm sorry I did that. Well, instead of being one and then the other, I was both at the same time.
Yeah.
That maybe we're becoming a little bit more open, or a little bit more connected, to where we're not just releasing something without realizing, and then, like, because you released it, your vibration raised and you're a little bit more your higher self. That's where I'm going with all this. It happened at the same time. I was aware of being both, and that's me a lot. But in that type of situation, that was weird to be so invested in getting it out and being really in it, and also being very aware that I needed to comfort myself during it, and that I was like feeling proud that, good job, do this.
Yes.
So
yes, and I feel that we are becoming more aware. I was talking to someone today about, hey, you became more aware of that quickly.
Yes.
We're learning faster.
Yes.
We're catching on. We're like, oh wait, I don't have to deal with that, or that's old. Like, that is getting ripped out from under us with this moon, and it just keeps coming. It's like layer after layer after layer after layer, not just the ascension, but with the astrology, which is all about the ascension also. Like,
right.
It's just taking out these layers, and we're just getting them a little bit more intense. What did I do say?
Nothing.
Oh.
All of this right here. This. And I don't have allergies. I'm not sneezing. It's not sinus pressure. It's not here. It's like right here and right here. Yeah. It just starts to ache. And it just started like an hour ago. Very weird. And I know I took some energy today, because I had several people. It was funny. I had several people come up to me today at work, pull me aside, not necessarily use me for my psychic abilities, but just do the human thing and vent, or need someone to talk to that they knew would make them feel better. And I love that, because I want to be that for people. But I did feel during that kind of, I'm not protecting my energy right now. I'm giving a lot of it. So we have to be mindful of that as well during this time.
We really do. And especially when we're feeling so lonely as a people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like I've gotten past that loneliness, but I've healed some big pieces. Mm-hmm. But there are many people feeling lonely. And that is something that's pretty heavy for us to feel and keep boundaries and not let
what? I've been thinking about this a lot, and I'm like, we need to come up with a new name for for this emotion, because some people feel lonely. They want contact. Other people just want to be, I don't know how to put this, they want contact. But a lot of times I have felt lonely because I wanted to be around someone, and I called it loneliness because I didn't like the way I was feeling. I had some emotions, or I was processing something, or I was feeling some type of way, or stressed, and being around someone would distract me or take my mind off of that. It wasn't that I was actually lonely. It was I was feeling something else and calling it lonely. And I really want to put that out there in the world because I want to talk about this. A lot of people are like, I just feel lonely. And I'm like, it's because you're not happy with something, or you're not addressing something, or something's trying to come to the surface, or something like that. There's loneliness. And then there's this other feeling that it's different than loneliness. It's the feeling of it's all these things happening. And I just wanted to put that out there because I think we'll talk about this more, and this will evolve.
Yeah, I think that's such a good thing because I talk about it a lot. So I would love to put a word to what that is, because you're right, it's not loneliness.
Yeah, but it feels like that because it feels like loneliness because you're craving attention or community with other people or connection with other people. But it's you actually do need to recharge. You actually do need to be alone. You actually enjoy the quiet.
Resistance to loneliness?
Do what?
Is it a resistance to loneliness?
Yes. Yes, it is. So there's got to be, you're not just lonely. There's nothing wrong with being lonely, just like there's nothing wrong with being selfish.
Right.
You see what I mean? So we need to change some of this shit up.
Well, let's do it. Let's change it right now.
Let's fucking do it and trademark it.
Chris, I hope that you are selfish.
I have 5 planets in the first house, which is the house of the self. You got it, babe. You got it. If you want selfish, but that's the thing, is selfish doesn't mean I only care about the self. It means those parts of me, the moon, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Chiron, all of it comes through the lens of the self first before being experienced. That does not mean, that's also what creates more empathy sometimes. Okay? So it doesn't just mean my focus is here. It means I'm constantly relating it to here. Mm-hmm. That's all.
And absolutely. I do that, and I do that often. But yeah, no, I like that resistance to loneliness, because it is like I'm lonely, but really I don't want to go in and feel the things I need to feel to get them out.
Absolutely.
And that's what we've been asked to
or
do.
To sit with them.
The universe was like, guess what? Here you go sit with that. And you're like, oh, I just need to be around people because I don't want to sit with this.
Yeah, and the thing is another, I guess bypassing would be a term, not spiritual bypassing, but emotional bypassing, where you're like, okay, I'm gonna go in now just to get it out, and that's me. That's me, boo. I'm like, oh, we're going to go heal this. Let's get this shit over with. And really, there's a part of you that just wants to be experienced. And there's nothing like going to a date and going, all right, let's eat so we can get the fuck out of here. What are we doing here? So sometimes you do have to just sit there and feel things and experience things. And it sucks because it's just like, am I just wasting time with this? Well, you don't feel like you're wasting time when you're joyful and laughing. You can just do that all day, you know? So.
Cracking me up. I'm just like, as you say these things, it's like I get flashes of my life.
I know.
And so I'm cracking up at the scenes they give me sometimes, you guys. Like,
yeah, like here's where this played out in your life.
And I'm like, oh.
Oh yeah, guilty as charged, bitch.
So more than anything, I'm laughing at those.
No, I know. Yeah. I'm going back to my own. Well, I mean, I don't have anything else to talk about tonight. I just wanted to catch up a little bit, talk about some of the things I've been experiencing, talking about this insane full moon, which was very powerful. And I'm not very connected to Taurus energy. And it doesn't mean I don't love it. I love all of the signs. You know, I'm very protective of the signs because people are like, oh, I'm not into Taurus. I'm not in, Scorpio. And I'm like, mm-mm. Just because I have had a negative experience with 7 or 8 Scorpios. No, just because, you know, I'm very protective of all of the signs and their energy because I don't look at the signs as people who have sun signs in those signs, okay? We go, ooh, I don't like Taurus because you've not gotten along with people who had a sun sign in Taurus and you've noticed that pattern. That means shit to me. So, but I really appreciated this Taurus full moon because it made it really real. It made it very visceral. It was very physical things were happening. It was physical. Just like Aries, though. You got to understand, Aries is very physical as well. The Aries is about the self, and Aries rules the first house, which is the house of the self, and the not so much the appearance, yes, as the ascendant is the beginning of the first house, but Taurus also rules the physical body in another way. And Taurus also rules the voice. Okay, so I want you to relate that to what you were experiencing on Saturday. A lot of people in this area, because Aries rules this, Taurus rules this area, and I appreciated it. I wasn't really I'm going to be honest. Because I don't have a strong connection to Taurus the way that I do to Leo and Pisces and Gemini. You know, we have the signs that we see in us and that we have out there. All my friends are Libras, you know, not me, but you know, you have those ones that you really connect with, the signs that you really like. Well, I wasn't expecting very much, and Uranus did his thing. That's why he strikes when least expected, baby. I had no idea what I was in for on Saturday. No idea. So I hope everybody is ready for Mercury to go direct. It does not mean that the party is over. Mercury will be entering retro shade. Okay, this is the shadow period. Shadow period is where, so Mercury went from 11 degrees of Scorpio back to 25. It'll be in 25 degrees of Libra tomorrow. Mercury has to make his way back to 11 degrees again. He's got to backtrack. Remember when you had to go back and get or you dropped your glasses back on the trail and you had to go back and get them, and you're still unhappy because you got to walk all the way back to where you were? So he's backtracked, which caused him to see the path from a new perspective. And also he noticed things he didn't before, and he wore the path down a little bit more. Okay. So that backtracking is really good. It allows anything that we forgot to pick up along the way, we're going to get this time. Like when you have to take the vacuum cleaner and go back and forth. Ooh, thank you, Spirit. And
I like that.
And once it gets back to 11 degrees of Scorpio, on the same day, Mars will go direct. So another synchronistic timing thing that's going on. I mean, this year is... Do what?
Is that tomorrow? Oh, no, tomorrow's not direct. When do they go direct?
November 13th, Mars will go direct and Mercury will exit its shadow phase. So it'll be in 11 degrees of Scorpio. And then Mars will go direct. And this is what we've all been waiting for, really. Mercury is up here. Mars retrograde, we don't get that every year. A Mars retrograde is a lot more rare than a Mercury retrograde. And Mars has not been in retrograde in its ruling sign of Aries for 6 months in like 20 years. So this is an amazing time to be alive, but it's, God, to me, it feels like we're on the Ferris wheel, but we're stuck at the top. Okay. Beautiful view, but we're just kind of like, when is this going to move? And we're getting nervous.
Yeah.
Once Mars goes direct, that energy will shift, because Mars is how we take action on things. It's a blood boiling energy. So we are noticing that we're trying harder physically and putting a lot of energy into things, and it's not working out the same way. And we are having a lot of frustrations and anger coming out. A lot of people are going, who am I? And I'm like, look, it's Mars retrograde. Mars rules Aries. It's in its ruling sign of Aries for 6 months. It only transits a planet or a sign every 6 to 8 weeks. This is all very intense. Yeah. So, all right.
Cool. Well, great. Thank you. I've loved doing this. I'm glad we got to chat tonight. Thank you all
Absolutely.
for tuning in. And of course, Christopher and I will be back next Monday at 9:30. Anything else you
Yes.
want to share before we go?
Well, I'll let you share as well after this, but if anyone would like to book a reading with me, because all of these these planetary transits that are happening right now, they do affect all of us differently based on your natal aspects. So if you've never had your chart done before, you should absolutely get it done by me, the Astro Medium. We'll do your chart and we'll have quite a bit of input from your support team. Let's just say that. And so if you want to book a reading with me, you can go to www.chrystopherwithayMedium.com. And also you should be following me on Instagram at the.astromedium. Take it away.
Awesome. You all can book readings and healing sessions with me at thejessicatanzel.com. I've got the Intuitive Witch School and Soul Magic starting this week, and I'm